in a basic college-level marketing class, in your first year of radio, television, and film, at least for me, and then I've seen some other textbooks and curriculum and found it's also in those, but most RTF schooling teaches you that they have had subliminals for at least 70 years in the United States and Europe. And, of course, in the 50s, they would show for a split second during the trailers Coca-Cola interspersed with a desert, and they found that it boosted sales of Coke 50%. And that was in late 40s, actually, and then it really went wide scale by the 50s. And so, yes, there is subliminal messaging everywhere. It is all over the place. Here's an example of subliminals, okay? And there's different classes of it, different areas of it, and it's very widespread, and there's so many different forms of it. But here's one. When you're watching CNN, and you see like 6 or 8 different TV screens all right up against each other with different video feeds, different images on the back, that is meant to switch off your conscious mind, because only your subconscious, this is in textbooks, this was discovered decades ago, and this is why you see it on most television. They have those different TV screens behind you because your mind then goes into a subconscious mode to be able to gather all that info, and now you're not critically assessing the main data stream of what the host is saying. You had the scroll at the bottom. That's a 7th or 8th feed. Then they'll have some moving, swirling mist. That's a 9th. Then there's the flicker rate of the television designed by the Pentagon more than 40 years ago to mesmerize you at the exact frequency. All declassified. Pentagon war attack against you. We'll be right back. The cancer viruses are in your vaccines. You know, if you're a new listener driving along, listening to us in the middle of the country, or right here in Austin, Texas, or in Florida, in Iowa, wherever you're listening on global shortwave in Africa, we get letters from there, China, the internet, in Japan or Germany. Don't believe me, just go research the flicker rate of television sets. You know, I thought they'd honed all this down, but a few years ago, my friend, who is, let's just say, a high-level technocrat in the UT Psychology Department, University of Texas, here in Austin, said, "Hey, Alex, I want to give you a tour of the unclassified areas of the new psychology building." And he showed me several floors, and most of the labs were paid for by DARPA. It would say on the door that the folks that, that basically built the infrastructure that we live under, built the internet, MIT is their main hub, and it was all the flicker rate with hooked into monkeys' brains who were actually across town and then out at the monkey lab out in Bastrop, but you could look at the monkeys over camera feeds. But they're humane. I mean, they only hook the wires in their brains for, a few weeks and then they kill them. It's a loving situation. But, I mean, the argument isn't about the killing the monkeys. The point is that they're testing flicker rate on how to mesmerize a primate. And then they have labs next door to it where they then have humans come in. And it's just all the government pays UT. See, universities now, the sports clubs and the dormitories and the schooling is a very small part of UT. I mean, it's maybe 8%, 9% of the overall thing. The rest is investments and owning radio networks and sports teams and telecommunications and oil fields and getting tax money. These are businesses. And the whole world's run like that. And the Pentagon runs 90+% of all of your peer research at universities, and it's all how to dominate and control us. You think these powerful people were going to stop with trying to take over foreign countries? No, you're the big target. You're the big prize. So don't just say, oh, Alex says the television is mesmerizing us. It's an absolute fact that they flicker it at a rate and that they have the televisions designed for that rate to bring you into a dreamlike state. I mean, it is a fact that within minutes, you go into a dream brainwave when watching television. That is an absolute fact. And see, I want you to not believe me. I want you to go find that out for yourself, Google it for yourself, or get a history of television book. Hundreds have been written. And then just find out. That's your controllers. That's your friendly masters. That's the behavioral psychologists and psychiatrists that have shaped your world. Go read a book by the father of modern advertising, Edward Bernays, where he calls you a dumb slave and admits they run your whole life. I've read both his major books. One of them's called Propaganda. Edward Bernays. And he says that you're a slave and that you're an idiot. And he says the public won't even read my book and laughs at you. Okay? He's the reason you eat bacon and eggs. He's the reason women smoke cigarettes. That's just one guy. See, and I have to sit here and watch him. I mean, Hollywood paid back in the 70s to have the TV show SWAT and to advertise it, and they show you guys in black uniforms everywhere. Those are attack teams to take you to FEMA camps, folks. They just drill them and train them in the name of the drug war. Now they're moving that to the terror war. It's always a new war. And, of course, the poor guys in black masks, they don't know that. You know, I said I'd take your calls, and I haven't done that really properly, so I'm going to just race through them. Because we get calls in Arizona, New York, Texas, Florida, everywhere. Let's go ahead here and talk to Robert in Arizona. You're on the air.
Hello, Alex.
Hi.
My father was in law enforcement, and, you know, when you're talking about using deadly force, you only use it when you have to protect
But the tasers aren't deadly. All these people dying, it's an accident that it happens when they're tasered. It has nothing to do with that, sir. You've heard the judge. The judge has told doctors they're not allowed to say it's killing people.
Well,
And the judge is saying you're not allowed to have the Second Amendment in court. Here, let me read from the New York Sun, and then I'm going to let you talk. It says, if you can't discuss the Bill of Rights in a court of law, where should we discuss it? In a tavern? You understand, sir? Go ahead.
Well, you know, there was a tavern in Pennsylvania where people discussed certain things at Concord, not too
The Green Dragon. Those were terrorists. I have FEMA on video teaching police that the founders at the Green Dragon were terrorists. Are you with those Are you with them? By the way, listeners, I'm not joking. FEMA standard deal. The founding fathers are bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead and tell me about the terrorist.
There's two things I want to mention, so let's please stay on track today and take a deep breath, Alex.
This interruption brought to you by INFOWARS.com. Here, go ahead.
All right. The point is a taser is something you would use to protect your life when you don't have to go for your gun, and you know the person might have a knife or they might have a club or something. You know there's very low chance that you're going to die. So you use a taser.
It's the threat escalation continuum, and then if somebody's got a club, and you should first meet them with a taser. That's how it was sold. But now, if an old lady won't get out of a wheelchair, go ahead.
Well, we're going to need to have the courts to sort this out. That's the only answer.
The courts are bought and paid for. Go ahead.
Well, we need juries in courts to sort this out. And it's going to take more education, more fully informed jurors, laying down the law, and that's the only way we're going to get around that. But the other thing I wanted to promote is, you know as well as I that the oil for arms for drugs economy that we have now,
mercantilism.
It's almost a mirror image of the old tea for silver for opium economy that the British Empire ran.
Yep, mercantile, triangular, yep.
It's absolutely a mercantilist mechanism that benefits a select few.
That's kind of fancy talk there. Maybe you're with Al-Qaeda. You know about history. That's so terrorist.
Well, I have a solution for it. We know that educating people about the insane war on some drugs is part of the answer, but there's another aspect to this that few people know about, and I would heartily encourage you to get David Bloom on, the author of Alcohol Can Be a Gas, because he has information that few people have, and it is possible that we could turn our backs on imported oil completely.
Oh, I know, and I appreciate your call. Great call, sir.